make a girl a promise. If you know you can't keep it. They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck.
Welcome to the Xbox Series podcast, where we stand on the precipice of positive, good hype and talk around the Xbox platform. We can look behind us and we can see months of doom and gloom and pessimism and just absolute disaster as the world crumbles around people that enjoy playing on this platform. But now things are about to change, and those fickle among us are about to have a smile on our face, almost as intense as Gamzly. Standing on the precipice with me, we do have Gamzly and Headley. Gamzly, how are you doing? How is your face feeling after holding that grin for as long as you just did?
My veins started to pop out on my forehead. It was quite intense. It was good. Oh my god. I'm doing fantastic. Oh my god. I'm having double. Oh my god. Somebody take it. Somebody take it.
You got double
Deadly.
audio?
Yeah, I got double.
Yeah,
audio. I'm sorry.
I tell you what, I was good right up until I walked the dog about an hour and a half ago, and I was sorely reminded that it is hay fever season. So if I
I
sound
thought
a
that
bit
story was going to be
nasally,
much worse.
Good.
Yeah.
So
your dog's okay?
It is worse. How dare you not feel sorry for the man that's allergic to nature and flowers and
Just
happiness
confirm the
and
dog's
joy.
okay.
The dog's fine. He's all right.
There we go. No worries.
Other than that, very, very good. Thank you, mate. How are you?
I do feel your pain. I get hay fever a bit earlier in the year than you do. So I do understand. But when you started to tell the story, like everything's fine, except this terrible thing happened, walking my dog, and I said, no, don't start the podcast with a horror story. But no, we're okay.
Oh, God, no.
You're okay. You're a little bit
No, it's
sneezy.
fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Dogs, as long as the
now.
dog's
Of
okay.
greatness.
As long as the dog's okay, it's all good.
Dog's
I'm
fine.
back,
Yeah,
baby.
he's-
I was getting double. I was getting double audio there. It was creeping me out. I found the problem. It's all fixed, Asa. I'm doing amazing.
You're doing amazing. Good. Tell me where you are.
Yeah. I'm in my new place at the moment. Still still not finished. But it's much more breathable over here. Since getting out of jail, I've had my eyes open to the world. I'm a nicer person sometimes. And it's all good. I'm ready to talk games and play games.
That's beautiful. Time will tell
Yeah.
if you are a nicer person or not, but we'll get on with it and we'll find out. So in terms of playing games, then let's go Deadly Headley first this
Yes.
week. Deadly, have you had a chance this week to get on to playing some games?
A little bit of a chance. I played some Hypercharge, which was really
Mm.
really fun. I had a friend of mine over on Friday night last week. And believe it or not, it's actually the only time that I've managed to play games in the last 7 days, which is really really sad. But it is what it is. Life happens. Anyway, um, so Hypercharge is really, really fun. I exclusively played the split screen couch co-op campaign with my good buddy, and we had a really, really fun time. It was really enjoyable.
Please tell me. So last time I played Hypercharge was a while ago, while it was in early access before it had come to Xbox, and it didn't have anything that you would really call a campaign at that point in time, but they were just starting to dabble with introducing some co-op play in there, and it was just a little wave-based thing. What is the campaign in Hypercharge today?
It is very, very simple. And the campaign levels are sort of split up with cutscenes kind of similar to Redfall's sort of style, but they're executed a little bit better. Basically, sort of graphic novel style, sort of cutaways and storytelling and things like that. Just sort of working with statics with some really nice zooms and pans and parallax effects, all that sort of thing. Um, in terms of the actual gameplay, um, each each level that you play, you're given a set of like old school main objectives and side objectives that you need to complete to like fully check the level off. And you can obviously do those with your friends and your party as well. And the gameplay basically revolves around. I'm going to forget the name of it now. They're not hypercharge stations, but I'm going to call them hypercharge stations for the sake of my short-term memory. Where you have, so you've got three on a map. You have to defend each of those while they come under attack from waves of enemies. You also have to maintain them so they have sort of power levels that help generate shields. You may have to use you need to sort of scavenge for batteries to sort of keep those topped up. Um, the waves can get quite challenging at times, but not massively. Like it's a fairly easy game to play. Um, my friend, sorry, bro, for throwing you under the bus. My friend died a lot more than I did. That might say more about him than me. I'm not sure. um, and gameplay wise, it's kind of simple. It's not really your sort of twitchy sort of COD or Apex style shooter. It's very sort of stripped back kind of. I remember the developer talking about how like the feel of the game was supposed to feel like something from sort of the um late 90s, early to mid noughties in terms of play style and simplicity, and it
Yeah,
does a really nice job of
it's
achieving that.
very floaty, right? It's like a little
Mm,
bit floatier than everything else. Like every time you jump or whatever, you kind of float there, and you have enough
yeah,
time to aim down sights and shoot. It's quite fun. It fits
it
well
is
for the
fun.
gameplay, right?
Yeah, yeah, it really does. You can play in either first or third person as well. I will say the default controls you're a little bit janky. I remember swapping mine out, and even then wasn't like fully happy with how the control setup felt. If I didn't have a friend over and I had that time to tinker with it, I maybe would have set like a profile up on my Elite Pad to make it just feel a little bit more comfortable to play in terms of expecting which button is supposed to do what. But largely, it's really fun. It's really chilled. It's easy for anybody to pick up if they've got any sort of vague interest in shooters. And obviously, like we said last week, or if you haven't seen Hypercharge yet, it's a third or first person um, shooter where you will play as action figures in like a life size world, so like a bedroom or a toy store or a bathroom. Um, and yeah, it's a really good time. It's like 20 quid and it's selling really, really well on Xbox right now. Like I think it's made like the top six paid games for this week or something like that. It's
Yeah,
done
it's
all
been
right.
boosting. Like I see, so Joe, their social media manager, is the developers of the game get a lot of credit for what they've made, but in terms of actually finding an audience, that's really difficult on any platform, whether it be Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, any of the others. And he's done a great job of riling some support, enough that game reached, I think it was 5th at the last time I saw him post, 5th on the top selling games in
You're right.
the US and America, the US and the UK, which the numbers that they tout are that it's broken 50,000, which might not sound like many. It might not sound like a big thing to shout about, but this game was made by a team of 6 people, and essentially Microsoft will be taking their 30% from the storefront, but actually by the numbers they've done all right for themselves. They'll be happy with that little takeaway from the Xbox platform in particular, because it never really took off on Steam. So that is nice to see, because obviously there's always a lot of talk and speculation around whether it's possible to sell games on Xbox, and this isn't exactly a definitive answer, but it has worked for this team at this scale, which is a positive. Gamzly, it sounds like you've been playing a bit of Hypercharge as well. You seem to like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Like I said on top, it reminds me of that game, like custom matches in Call of early Counter-Strike, where you're able to like create these different game modes in early Counter-Strike. I love how it feels. It's just nostalgic for me for some reason. I like being mini in these big spaces, being small but playing in like a grocery store and like fighting behind cabbages or something. I love that concept. I love the grounded type of feel. Yeah, so what you're seeing on screen right now is them running around a kitchen, a backyard, a toy store, like building custom kind of environments. It's just a fun time, man. It just feels fun. I'm having
Takes
I'm
you
having
back
a
to your
blast.
childhood, because before the advent of social media, that's what you did. You hid behind cabbage patches, shouting insults at people.
Yes, exactly. That's me, man. All insults, no love. But yeah, it's fun. Look at this. Like, anyway, it's fun. Give it a shot. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay on it, because again, just like what was that game called, the Call of Duty clone by Ubisoft? Help me out here, Asa. The one that I was
X-Defiant.
playing last week. X-Defiant. Just like that game, I think it doesn't do. It's in this weird middle ground where it doesn't do everything quite perfectly. It just does most things well. So I don't know. It fits within a niche. But I don't know how large that niche is, and like you said, the numbers seem to be quite on the smaller end. It's not taking over the world, but that niche is important. And to you, if you like that style of game, jump in and play.
Yeah, and it's also, so they said they were aiming for the kind of feel and structure of a game from the 90s, 2000s, and so on, which I assume means, and I haven't, I have played it, but not its released version, so I don't know if they've added any systems and things, but I'm assuming it doesn't have masses in the way of kind of progression and hooks and things to make you keep coming back to it day in, day out. It is more structured like games used to be, where they say this is fun and you can play it if you want to, when you want to. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes. Well, in my
no
opinion,
leveling up, no unlocking weapons, no progression hooks, no insistence that you play more than you might want to.
At least not in what I've played with campaign. No, not at all.
Which I personally, that's a positive.
You unlock stuff as you play, but it's nothing sort of holds you back. There's, I haven't tinkered with the customization, but I can see that there's a fair bit. Yeah, some more time on that would be nice. But yeah, gaming time for me generally has actually been really limited. So
fair enough.
Hey, you played Hypercharge, so that's good enough. It's a great game.
It's reminded me last week when we were here, I was talking about, really briefly, I talked about playing the finals and how that seemed really inaccessible as a starting point. It seemed very much like it was structured to be like pay to win. It felt very disadvantaged going into an uneven playing field against people that had put in their time, put in their money, and got much better abilities than you start with. And then being impatient, I figured I'm going to play that game again because there's a lot that it does right. But I'm going to pay to win, and I'm going to buy the best weapon. I didn't wasn't actually the thought process entirely, but I thought I'd have a little shop around because the game is free and I don't actually mind buying things in free games occasionally. And actually, you can't buy power in that game. So my perception that it's a horrible pay-to-win game was off the mark, but I still don't like how much... I don't like the progression structure in that game. I don't like how uneven it felt going in and how limited it felt as a new player. So even though it's not necessarily greed motivated, and then Hypercharge is doing the opposite. Like you go in and you're fine. It is level. You can play it like you would have done a Dreamcast game. You got your mate round on the couch, pick up a controller and have a blast. Even though it might not
or your
get people
Brotato.
going back in again and again. Definitely not like Brotato. No, it's I see Lethal Migraine in there, and I started reading them, and then you got under his skin and started making him say silly things about how I was supposed to play it and love it. No, not like Brotato. So you've thrown me off now. Hypercharge, it looks interesting. If you want a kind of Dreamcast era game to go and shoot plastic toys, the plastic looks really good, the toys look really good. It's a decent amount of fun. Go and play it. It's not going to change your life, but that is Hypercharge. Gamzly,
Yeah, like
you played more than just Hypercharge.
just want to.
Okay.
Yes, I have, but to like flush his point, like flush in the chat, at least the game isn't an Overwatch clone. That's true. It is. It's hitting a different type of nostalgia while staying a little different, and that's good. I like that games are doing that.
That's
it
also
definitely stands out in
coincidentally
that.
the only good thing I can say about Brotato. At least it's not an Overwatch clone.
You know what? Sip your goddamn coffee, Asa. You little shit. Is that tea or coffee, you jerk? Anyway,
Coffee, yeah.
moving on. Okay. I've been playing Octopath Traveller 1. Like I picked it up again. So I restarted because I had a hard time remembering most of that game, but I did remember enjoying it a lot. So this game is special. Like the first game, I understood some of the gripes about the campaign structure. So how it is, it's almost like if you played 100 Heroes that came out recently, it's almost like the same feel. You're going around kind of grabbing your party as you go, and they have their like side missions and their side plots connected to each character, but they're not connected in the way of 100 Heroes. You'd want them to be connected and having the characters reference each other and whatever, but the gripe with the first game, Octopath Traveller 1, is that they didn't reference each other that much. They very, very much felt they had their own stories, they're fleshed out, but they didn't understand each other when they're connected. Like, it didn't feel like a family or their stories were connected in any significant way. In the second one, I hear that changes, but I haven't played much of it on Switch. I bought it on Switch. So I wanted to get like back into that universe and that world. And it's clicking for me as it did when I first played Octopath Traveller 1. And I just love it. It's grindy, it's tough, it's fun. Unlike 100 Heroes, where it does have their gimmicks, but it has such a beautiful flow and the music's amazing. It just makes you feel so powerful. Like, no matter what stage of the game you're in, your characters feel great, the skills feel great. Finding out the weaknesses to different enemies and using that flow to get like combo moves and all that stuff going is a good feeling, and it's hooked me again, and I'm through Act 3 of, I think, the Dancer's Quest. I think. So they all have acts to different characters. Yes. Yeah, I actually did. I got to... I had a tough time with the end boss. That boss was really difficult, but I don't remember...
Yes.
I didn't... Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember... I don't remember much of it, but that's why I'm replaying it. I just remembered loving, like, I loved some of the sections, stories of some of these characters. Like Act 2 of the Dancer, I really enjoyed. Act 1 of the, so on and so forth. I do like individually their arcs, but I just don't like how they came together, right? It's almost redundant, in my opinion. Have you played? Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to? You know what I understand?
I do. So the way that Octopath Traveller 1 plays out, and 2 as well, I think, the reason that this is a topic of conversation is they're both on Game Pass as of today. So Octopath Traveller 2 didn't arrive on Xbox until right now, straight into Game Pass so that you can play it. And these games have this HD 2D style that you've probably seen. They've got brilliant music. They've got reasonably in-depth turn-based RPG mechanics, and they are a very nice one to get into. The first Octopath Traveller isn't directly connected to the second one, so you don't need to play the first to go on to the second, but it is a good game in its own right. It's just that, like Gamzly is saying, these 8 characters, you pick one to be your main, but essentially you take all 8 through their individual campaigns. And because you can pick and choose and do it in any order, the game's not kind of smart enough to have much overlapping dialogue between them. There's no awareness from one character on what's going on with the other one's story and so forth, which I didn't actually pick up as a particularly strong issue when I played it as a problem, but now that you're saying it, I can recognize that that's how it went. My biggest problem with the game is that it was entirely obtuse about how you actually get to the good bit at the end. So you've got these 8 character stories that you can run through, and they all finish in their own right. But it does not naturally lead you on to anything after that point at all. And that's like, it's a weird decision. There's like the subtlest of hints that it is all tied together. But unless you follow a really obscure set of quite tedious side quests across the world, you do not get to the end of that game. It doesn't come together. And then, like you say, the boss being an arsehole, the whole final section is an arsehole. The whole final section is terrible by comparison to the rest of the game in the way that it's set up in terms of how happy it is to watch you waste your time.
Yes, and you have to have a big amount of heavy grind at the end. Like, you just gotta grind and get the perfect setup, and if you don't know anything about it, you're there for like an hour not understanding what you're supposed to do.
You have to go, and you go in for an hour, and then it informs you actually you had to grind for 5 hours before this. But
exactly.
There goes that hour.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, I could have had this hour grinding, you little shit. But yeah, it's very awkward. But like you were saying, I love those individual stories though. They do it so well. It's almost like a chapter, each like section chapter in a small mini game of itself, each person. So it's really well made in that respect. And I hear really great things with the second one and how they congeal a little bit more. So yeah, them dropping in Game Pass really did pump me up again for it. You know what I mean? And especially the showcase season coming up. I mean, it's getting me hyped for some Xbox games, and them doing this so close to the event shocked me. I thought this would have been maybe a Game Pass drop during the event, but we'll talk more about that later. Interesting stuff. I like this. I like what they did. And on top of that, Octopath Traveller 1, I have been playing freaking crap. Oh my god. Oh, I dropped Immortals of Avium? Is that what you call it? Immortals of Avium? Yes. I dropped that really quick. I got about halfway through and I was like, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted, but it wasn't interesting me or dragging me in as much. So I dropped that. What else did I play this week? I don't even... Oh, a little bit of Lords of the Fallen. I continued that a little bit more. I like this game, Asa. I don't know why. Like, chat, don't kill me. There's something about this game that's really dragging me in, and I feel that way in most Souls games that have like a Japanese spin. I think I just love the art style and like what they do with the look of that game, and I just like it. It's like grabbing me. I just want to see how certain weapons and armor look, and I want to see my character walk through the world. It's very awkward, but I'm not really enjoying much of it. I'm just liking I'm liking the theme and how it looks more than the actual gameplay itself. And I know that's such a weird thing to say, but it's grabbing me for some freaking reason.
Is it putting up much resistance,
so
or are you making steady progress?
I'm making it's not hard. I'm making steady progress. Yeah. I'm not forcing myself to play. So that's a nice thing in itself. I'm not feeling like I'm gotta play this thing even if I didn't buy it. I'm not having that pressure. I just keep going back for some reason, so that it's hitting a nail with me, whatever that is. Yeah. So I've been playing that, and one more game really quick. Is the oh yeah, I wrote Hypercharge, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got
Mhm.
for now.
No, that's fair enough.
How about
Headley,
you,
did you have
Asa?
any questions for Gamzly on any of those games that's been playing? Because you've been a little quiet, and I just want to leave you on the side.
I actually don't. I've heard good things about Octopath Traveller, but haven't checked
You
it out
don't really
myself.
JRPG, do you?
I'm not really a JRPG guy, no.
But you learned to
Yeah.
love Baldur's Gate 3, so maybe there's a whole
It's true.
world of
Yeah.
games.
Very, very
No,
for you
that's
to
a
discover.
true RPG, Asa. All right, that's a true RPG.
I
That's
know,
a
but that's what I
Western
mean. He's
Indian
been
If
closed
we're
off.
gonna, I mean, if
But
we're
he's been
gonna
closed
talk
off to a
true
whole
RPGs,
genre that
It's
suddenly he
true.
surprised himself and
Yeah.
went, actually, I love this genre. Maybe Japanese RPGs will be next.
Can I?
the
Yeah, you
only
know what?
other
That's a
game
good
I
point.
have played
Uh,
is some
oh.
D&D, which I am really enjoying still.
Oh, dude, I gotta
Hmm.
get you in I gotta get you in it. Bring me in, Deadly. Can you bring me in? I need some D&D love. My group is sleeping lately. I gotta get some D&D love. If I had to recommend you jump into a JRPG that might intrigue you in some sort of way, I would actually recommend trying Octopath.
Okay.
Try it.
Cool.
It because it is not as slow as old school RPGs. There is some
Mhm.
sort of coherent story that you are intrigued by in some matter. They go very deep in some of their, like I said the dancer in Octopath Traveler 1 is incredible. I love her story.
Mhm.
They do get quite personal with individual stories in that game. So
Mhm.
maybe pop in and try one storyline, see
Okay.
what it does for you. Because just the
Yeah.
art style itself is quite intriguing to the eyes, and it holds you, right? So,
Okay.
check it out.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's all I got.
Mhm.
Octo 1, Pete. Octo 1. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I haven't got anything else to add. Don't worry.
Yeah, fair enough. So, in there, we were talking about obviously the Octopath games because they have arrived. Well, Octopath Traveller 1 was on Game Pass before, and I don't know if it dropped off and came back on or if it's been there the whole time because I've not looked into that. But it is a Square Enix drop. We've also had a few other Game Pass games, Callisto Protocol, 4 other ones dropped today as well, right before the showcase. We're obviously going to start talking showcases in a little while, but before, I just want to look back onto the Square Enix bit because Octopath Traveller 2. The first one came to Xbox and it didn't go to PlayStation, and that was very strange for Square Enix. Recently, a lot of games from Square Enix have gone to everything except Xbox. We've seen exclusives for Nintendo, exclusives for Sony, and multi-platform games, and even some of those have been skipping Xbox. Octopath 2 kind of marks the arrival of games coming after Square Enix have decided to be a little bit more open and play a bit more nicely with Microsoft. They have also announced, and I'm going to let Gamzly talk about this one because he's more of a Dragon Quest person than I am, but they've also announced a Dragon Quest 3 remaster. Is that right, Gamzly? Why 3? What's going on?
Well, yeah, they Well, okay, so here's the thing. Dragon Quest is in a weird spot because the first game, Dragon Warrior, when it was, released in the West, was actually not really that great. It was just like a little experiment, you know what I mean? It was a shorter experience. It wasn't very large in scope. But it had a very core fan base that just was ravenous for it. So the first game, I'm not really. It's more like a nostalgia tug for me for the first game. I'm like dragged to it because I did enjoy that first one. It did have a loop of classic Square Enix titles, Final Fantasy or whatever. It had a hook, the same hook as the grind, right? It's the big world and the grind and the cool art design and all that stuff, even though it was pixelated sprites. That one I'm not very interested in. The second one gets a lot better, but the third one is where everything changes. And that's why I think they're heavily focused on remaking the third one. But I've heard that we don't touch rumors, but the rumor is actually that they want to do all three. right, in one kind of swoosh and have a collection, kind of like the Final Fantasy collection. And I think it's such a good freaking idea, man. If any franchise deserves that type of attention, it would be this one, because it really did latch on to the hearts of many people in the West, because it was their first like foray into that, or one of the first forays into that genre. And the Japanese have had this forever, though, right? Asa, like the Japanese have been consuming Dragon Quest in many forms, in many remastered forms, on many systems for a long time. But in the West, not really. So I'm really excited to see what they do, how they make it. Is it a complete, like, can they actually make it instead of remaster it in the ways of Octopath, and which they are. I think we saw the trailer. It is in that oh my god, where is the trailer? They had a trailer, my god. It is in the Octopath kind of style. So I'm just super ready for this game to get a breath of fresh air. But there's not much else to say. I'm just happy that Square is paying attention to Xbox and giving us some more love, because I think they need to build their fan base there. And this is a great place to start.
We did get Dragon Age 11, not Dragon Age, Dragon Quest 11 as well, and some of the weird builder side games and things like that. They did have a tendency to go into Game Pass, which is in common with Octopath at the moment. For Xbox to get Square Enix games, they do need to seem to put a little bit of effort in and play extra nice and give them, basically pay up front to stick it in a subscription service, which works out well enough for us, right? But I don't know how long that will go on for. As their presence builds and as people get more interested in those games and more willing to buy them, maybe we'll have to start buying them. Like I think we're going to have to Trials of Mana, Legend of Mana. What's the freaking new Mana game called?
Oh my god, that's a good question. I keep getting into. Yeah, that Mana game. Shit, Trials. I think it's Trials of Mana. I think you landed it.
The one
Trials.
that came up in the developer direct.
Yeah, that's
one. The one.
Yeah. It's Trial. Oh no, it's not. Oh my god, what is it?
That's an old one. Yeah.
Visions.
Thank you.
Visions. There you go. Thanks, guys. Yeah, no, the last.
I think we were hosting
the
last podcast or something. Jesus.
I know, right? Yeah. Hey, Square hates us. All right, it's not our fault. No. The last thing to say, about Dragon Quest is like it's not a major seller. Like Final Fantasy has always outshined basically every JRPG that's ever come out in the West, right? It's always that big gun. Dragon Quest is a very small. It was a small niche of that entire umbrella. But if they give the same love and treatment that they do with everything else, and they land that Octopath style and feel, this has a ton of potential, man. As I said, the nostalgia alone grabs people, and they just need to teach us that they're here to stay on every platform, so that we could start selling our friends on it, being like, hey, you like JRPGs, you like this, you like Final Fantasy, try Dragon Quest. Try this Dragon Quest. It's super nice. It's revamped. Here it is. They need to land that. They need to land that message. Square Enix needs to land that message. So I'm super excited about this.
Good. I can tell that Deadly Headley is as well. It's not showing on his face, but it's showing in his mannerisms. We can read.
Honestly, I'm just trying really hard not to sneeze.
Hay fever's still getting you, but your dog's okay, so it's all right.
Dog's fine, yeah.
Let's talk about from game Deadly Headley doesn't care about at all, from Japanese RPGs that he doesn't care about at all. Let's talk about Call of Duty. Gamzly, you've taken a keen interest in some numbers around Call of Duty across all platforms, how the game's performing. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not going to deep dive into like an analysis. This could be like a rapid fire type of thing. But apparently, according to GameIndustry.biz, they have a really interesting article up about what Call of Duty is doing and how it could shift some things in Game Pass and how it could affect Sony and et cetera, et cetera. That's not really the interesting stuff. What I find interesting is like, it's big, man. Dude, they said 22 to 26 million active users, monthly active users all the time. It like steady 20 to 26 million across all platforms. Just console, PC, and PlayStation. Not mobile, not anything like that. Just those three platforms, and that's a big freaking number. And
That's
apparently,
crazy.
yeah, 22 to 26 million active users just on these Call of Duties. It's crazy, especially Modern Warfare 3 is pretty old at this point, right? And so are all the other Call of Duties mentioned in the data. So very interesting numbers, very big numbers. Yeah, very big
I'm so
numbers.
happy that we get
And
data come up every week.
you be quiet, all right? No, it's just interesting numbers. Listen, you shut up. But also the interesting number here that I find relevant to their strategy or Xbox's Game Pass strategy is that like apparently 36% of Call of Duty players across these platforms, PlayStation and Xbox, are double console owners. So they own another console. And they point out in this article that's a key strategy for Xbox is, if those players do play Call of Duty all the time and it's always on PlayStation, whatever, and they have a double console as a secondary console like an Xbox, they want to grab those guys just by enticing them. Hey, look, why pay when you're here? And it's a big mover, and it's quite interesting in that respect on how they could shift eyes and views to their platform while having the other one still live and be healthy. Yeah, I think they just want to be that secondary console in your room. If anything, they want Game Pass to surpass that.
Yeah, I find there's an often neglected but actually quite important audience of people that have both consoles, because generally when you start getting into social media in particular, when people start talking about what platforms people have and what's doing well where and all the rest of it, people seem to entirely forget the existence of people that own both. And it is like a very enthusiastic group of people, so actually a very loud group of people, which makes it kind of an interesting focal point when you look at how these decisions are going to impact the group of people that are that interested, that are that vocal, that have both consoles, that might actually be swayable in that way in terms of where they play and where they're putting more of their money and more of their time over the others. So it is a little
being
segment gone.
passionate also means that they're likely to pay attention to the marketing as well, and that's the key thing for Xbox now. Xbox having its name attached to Call of Duty is the important thing. It's the association with the IP that's just going to show up over and over again, every release date, every time there's a new announcement, every time anything happens, Xbox's name is attached to it. Therefore, the Game Pass moniker is also attached to it, and I think that's really where Xbox is hoping that it starts to see growth in the service.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. And but yeah, we don't have to say much more about it. It's just it's an interesting data analysis on GameIndustry.biz. They do some good articles sometimes. They're very analytical with their stuff. So this was one of the good
before
ones,
IGN bought them. Who knows where they're going from this going forwards? But
yeah, they also like shout out on the front page, like, oh, come listen to IGN this, and you're like, oh, that's awkward. But yeah,
we've got another
cool stuff.
GameIndustry.biz article on there as well about the UK retailer. Yeah, Mouthwords. Did you want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah. So speaking of
no, Gamzly, you're not allowed to in your Canadian accent. Game is a UK chain, so Headley, you have to tell this one.
I can do that. That's
son of a
mainly because it's the only article in the thing that I have actually skim read in full. So thank you, Asa. Thank you, Gamzly, for collating this fantastic story. Fourth wall breaks down. Team effort.
I love you guys.
So, Game is a retailer in the UK who, funnily enough, has sold video games. Quick fun fact: once upon a time, very, very long time ago, in my local town, you used to have a game retail store and an HMV, which was like a record store, basically, opposite each other. So all of the entertainment that you could want as a little skater teen growing up in the noughties, it was pretty great. And then digital media.
This is the weird moment I realised you're in the same town as me.
And everything died.
Ooh, go have some wine
I
together.
don't
You
I don't
losers.
think that's true, but if it is, let's talk about that after the show. um, um, so, game's been sort of a bit of a fledgling store for a while, as I think everybody can probably relate to with their own similar kind of high street experience in shopping for video games. Retail stores generally selling video games don't really look that great right now, and it's just because they're not getting the same amount of footfall as they were before, because digital libraries are growing all the time. There's less need for physical discs. There's less need to go and actually buy a console from a store, but that's actually still quite a nice experience. And actually, that's really the only time. So I think I've always ended up buying a console from a store, partly because I like the fact that I have a physical entity that I can return it through if anything goes wrong. And actually, for the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, I've ended up with. I know there wasn't officially a day one edition for the Series X, but I've ended up with buying a console on the day of launch from a store, and that experience is still really nice. So it's a shame to see the retail sector struggle in the way that it has, but it is sort of just the way that the entertainment industry is going.
I haven't been into one of these stores for a very long time, but I imagine because, like
No,
you say,
I
games are
haven't.
digital and most people buy there, I imagine you walk in and you just get
Mm.
like plushes and Tifa pillows, right?
Well, actually, so there's a larger, less niche retailer called House of Fraser in the UK, who have sort of basically put game stores in their kind of back rooms, so they don't even um game as a retailer doesn't even get that same sort of um visibility as it used to back when it was sort of more independent and less,
Mhm.
I don't know, more relied upon, I guess, really. um so the story here is, now that we've got some context for what game is and the bleak state of the UK high street sector, um, Game is dropping its Xbox All Access scheme, which is why it's in the news on the show. It's also dropping a reward scheme as well. Basically, the top line that we've heard from Game is that um, they are reassessing their credit strategy, essentially. They've said that Game is simplifying its credit offering, and as of the 26th of June, will no longer be offering Xbox All Access. This decision will not impact any of our existing Xbox All Access customers. If you don't know what Xbox All Access is, it is actually how I bought my Series X, funnily enough. So you could either buy the console outright, or you could pay um over 24 months for the console and Game Pass Ultimate as one payment. And it actually worked out about a fiver cheaper than
Mhm.
buying the whole thing outright and buying Game Pass Ultimate. So Xbox wasn't. I'm sure they were making some sort of money somehow, but they weren't. They weren't leveraging that deal to get an interest profit out of consumers, which is a really nice offering. And given that I pay for Game Pass Ultimate anyway, um, effectively I looked at it as me paying £18 a month for a Series X over 2 years, because I was going to pay for Game Pass Ultimate regardless. So it's a bit of a shame that Games specifically is dropping that deal, as far as we can tell. Or actually, it says in the gamesindustry.biz article, Microsoft have confirmed the move from Game, first of all, but they have said that it will still be available in other participating retailers, for instance, Smith's Toys, and 4Gadgets, which I've never seen a 4Gadgets, but Smith's Toys is where I got my console from. That's the story, really. I don't know how you guys bought your consoles. I do think that Xbox All Access is a really good product offering. It's obviously still being offered with other retailers in the UK, so it's not like that offer is going away completely. Um, that really is the long and short of the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's so the Xbox All Access program was like created and pushed by Microsoft using these retail partners. And it was a good program because it made it very easy and affordable for people to be able to get hold of a console, which we like. That's the whole point of, the Series S in particular in the first place, to get people on. And this is a step up from that. It's it just helps people get into gaming, which is a good thing. It doesn't sound like Game are doing it to spite Microsoft or anything like that. They've got their own finance arrangements and their own things that they want to push in its place. So fair enough. Maybe something even better will come out of it, or maybe Game will shut down entirely, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't think there is anything else to really say on that one besides, that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, that's one. I just wanted to bring that or highlight it just for a
Do you
few
have it in
minutes
Canada?
because that
All
the All Access, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we do. Best Buy, EB Games, yeah, all the big guys kind of offer that option. It's quite interesting that they're stepping back from it in the UK, and that one retailer, God knows who else will follow. But yeah, interesting stuff that I just wanted to reassure if people are in our audience, like listening right now, are on that plan. You're safe; it'll go through. Still, it's just they won't offer it to new people. Yeah.
Imagine.
Just wanted to bring it up.
Like, obviously, we don't know how the deal is structured, but I imagine it wasn't a big money maker for the retailer that was involved, because obviously Game Pass is already putting them under massive strain and threat, because Game Pass means less people going into their stores to buy games.
Mhm.
Consoles were already not massive for markup anyway, so when you start putting it on finance, that money's getting eaten somewhere. So not too surprising that they decided it's not for them. But yeah, let's talk about games again. So we were talking about Call of Duty. Call of Duty is obviously going to have a big upcoming reveal, presence, marketing push, burst of excitement around it. I'm sure we talked about it a little bit before, but I want you to tell me, are you really excited? In particular, we're going to talk about the whole of the Xbox thing. We're going to talk about Summer Game Fest and all the rest of those kind of things. But Call of Duty in particular, what do you want to see Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox show on Sunday?
Okay. Like Activision specifically, or just Call of Duty stuff?
Just Call of Duty.
Okay, so Call of Duty, I just want to see. I want to actually see highlighted campaign here. I want them to go really highlighted deep, like highlight campaign deeply. Show us the theme. Show us a mission. Show me that. Specifically in the direct, show me that on the trailer. Show me a small snippet of that, right? And then deep dive into the whole campaign after, as much as you can without spoiling stuff. But I want them to highlight that. I think it would be interesting for them to highlight that instead of the multiplayer, because we all know we're going to go to the multiplayer anyway. We know that, right? That's what Call of Duty is. But tell me why I want to play this on Game Pass for whatever reason. Show me an intrigue and story. I would like to see that. Is it a necessity? Not really, but that's what I would like to see. Them come out here and be like, look, we're trying to show you an adult story, adult themes. We want to be risky with it, uncensored. Let's go, because I think the theme that they're trying, or they teased, is very intriguing to me. I just don't want them to half step with it. I want them to go full in. So
I think
let's see.
I'm interested to see where they're going to go with it. We obviously haven't had anything actually confirmed, but what we have seen from the marketing trailers is a lot of sort of repurposed like real world media footage of figures like Clinton and Bush and Saddam Hussein, and some very sort of interestingly cut sort of distorted footage and sort of teasers of like a bit of a sort of conspiracy thread. And I think actually like a lot of the core Call of Duty audience will have grown up in that era, or around that era, or close to that era. And a lot of the violence and tragedy that happened over those years is still in living memory. So to have quite an abstract story told via a Call of Duty game, I think one is potentially going to be really interesting, and again,
Hmm.
quite a headline grabber for Xbox potentially as well, depending on how close to the bone they're going to go with some stuff, or how out there they're going to go with some stuff. There have been rumors and speculation and murmurs about some sort of open world aspect to it. I don't know how much of that is true.
Mhm.
I'd be interested to see what they do with the campaign regardless. Like I've said before, I'm not a huge Call of Duty guy, but I do actually quite like the campaigns. I really don't like the multiplayer, mainly because of the time to kill. I just sort of, it's all right in short bursts, but I prefer Halo or Apex for that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But I do really like the zombies mode. So I'd be quite interested to see what zombies is going to do this time around as well, and hopefully we get a deep dive in that. Because I think Black Ops has always been like sort of home for good Call of Duty zombies modes. Again, I can't say I've kept up with them religiously, but I remember the original Call of Duty Black Ops. That zombie mode for me was just one of my favorite zombie experiences. Um, so yeah, interested to see what happens.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's oh, sorry. Just to close off for me, I there's very relevant topics in those images that, if shown correctly, could really land, and if not, could really hurt. But I hope they take that gamble. I hope they really just go all in. You can't half step stuff like this, because the worst thing is, if you half step this stuff, it's an instant fail, and it'll backfire pretty quickly. So go all in, and these guys go all in. This team goes in with their storytelling. So hopefully they don't stop with this one, and they really try to make a statement. Yeah, give me gore, give me good gunplay, give me all that juicy stuff with a tight knit short story, and then yeah, I'll hop into multiplayer. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Go ahead, Asa.
That's right. I was just going to say, so I'm not a big Call of Duty person whatsoever. But what I want to see is a good 6 minutes on fish AI, first of all, because I need to see that they've made good progress with the AI of the fish. But aside from that, more seriously, there's a lot of talk always about, like Headley was saying, about the missions being more open in structure, maybe even open world or not. And for me, not being a massive Call of Duty person, that's not a big deal. But I would always be inclined towards that being a misstep for most IP, including Call of Duty, to open things up too much, because tight linear stuff it has a place, and it is what people have been served in Call of Duty for a long time. So I think people will probably still want to see everything be really tightly scripted to that degree. But for what I would want to see, and what we won't see, because we never do with Call of Duty, I would like to see environments getting ripped to shreds by bullets and grenades. Because Call of Duty has always been so static relative to the likes of Battlefield and stuff, in terms of stuff falling apart. And we're not going to see it because this is supposed to be another cross-gen game, which means it's going to be perfectly functional on the previous consoles. And I know I've just talked about Battlefield, which was doing this on the previous consoles, but my other point of reference is obviously Halo, which was a cross-gen game, and Halo suffers from being very, very static as well. The Halo Infinite, one of my biggest criticisms of it in terms of tech, is that you can drive a tank into a small tree stub and the tank will just stop. You can't damage that tree stub. You can't damage the mud under your feet. I want to see Call of Duty embrace that more and say, like, these are live ammunition. These are real weapons. You are breaking stuff.
Good shout.
But yeah, we won't see that, I don't think. That's just what I would like from Call of Duty, to push it to the next level, as it were. Either way, drop it on Game Pass. I will be able to give it a go. I will at least play a bit of the campaign. So that's a positive. It is, though, so much as it's Microsoft's focal point for this this showcase that they've got coming up, they're pulling it aside. They're doing a dedicated Call of Duty thing afterwards. You can understand it, because, as we were saying earlier, like 26 million people a month playing that thing. They're going to want eyes on it. But for me, it's not going to be the interesting part of the showcase. The interesting part of the showcase is going to be the other 30-odd games. Headley, you're excited. You can... I'm not a big guesser. I don't like to throw stuff at the wall and see what actually comes up, but I do enjoy the hype and the enthusiasm and like the speculation around it. Give me some of that. What are you hoping for? What's going to be in this showcase for you?
Top of my list for what I'm hoping for, and I'm on the fence as to whether or not it's going to show up, is I really want to see more of Fable. That's by far and away my most anticipated game from Xbox right now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Playground Games has been able to do with that. We obviously had a good look last year, or well, a brief but good look last year at the fidelity that we can expect from cutscenes, a real sort of mood and taster of what the game might deliver, and glimpses of what we're told was gameplay on the Xbox Series X. But I wouldn't expect to. I would expect to see some profound changes, or maybe not changes, but I'm not expecting that to be the finished article, because it was in quite a controlled environment, being a trailer, rather than the controlled environment of a gameplay demo in a showcase, which definitely is a controlled environment at showcase stage. Yeah, Fable is. I really, really want to see Fable. That's the thing that I'm excited for sure. But I think it's unlikely. I reckon that's possibly more for next year than this year, based on the fact that we did see it last year. But we'll
And more
see.
broadly, whenever you get a showcase like this, a big event, people get their hype levels, and they maybe like through the roof on expectations and stuff. And then the showcase happens, and maybe they're devastatedly disappointed or whatever. But where are you at in terms of like a broad hype level for this showcase? How good are you expecting it to be?
I feel so. I felt quite good about the trajectory that Xbox has put itself on for a while. The thing that it needs to do is just up its release cadence. I think I actually thought that last year's show was really, really good. I thought it was a really positive one. And I'd probably give it, I'd say like an 8 to a 9 out of 10, from memory and how I felt. But actually, it would have been quite helpful to watch that in hindsight. And I know, Gamzly, that was something that you suggested we might do as part of this show today too.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, to help us out. So I do have the list in order of the stuff that was announced kind of last year, and Asa, I don't know if you want to do this or not, let me know. But I do have a list here, how they structured last year, what games showed up, and what we thought about the overall. This is not going deep into each of these games, but how we thought that show in hindsight meant for Xbox, and how some of the games landed or not. And then I was thinking of just going down the list of some of the studios that they have in silence, and see if you guys think what if they will show up, and what you think will show up by them.
I mean,
Does that sound
it's
good?
also then, yeah, I think it's also worth actually sort of looking at like what we've managed to experience since that last showcase, what we're waiting for as well, what we're expecting to hear more of, and yeah, I think that's quite helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asa?
Let's do,
Yeah.
before we get into
Go
it,
on.
let me just grab these. So we got milestone chat from episode 13 for being a member for 4 months. Thank you, episode 13. Much as your duck things bemuse me, it is great to have you around. So thank you for that. He says, great show, guys. Green Heart Team excited for Sunday. He's excited for Sunday. We have a super chat from Pete as well. Pete, thank you very much for that. It says that it hasn't happened yet for him, but he would love to be in an eHop game with all of these lovely presenters. Hopefully it will happen eventually. So for those that don't know, eHop is the Electronic House of Pancakes. It is the name that I've used for a long time for community sessions on pancake games, flat screen games, TV games, games outside of virtual reality. They are the eHop games, and we play them at the weekend. Not sure what's going to happen this weekend, what with all the showcases going on, but typically every weekend we have some games, community driven, and yeah, we need you two chaps to join us so that Pete gets his wish granted.
Hell yeah.
Gamzly, we're going to go through that list then, like you said. You're going to just bash through last year, tell us like what was shown and whether they actually delivered on that. But first I want you to answer the question I asked Deadly Headley, which was like, what's your kind of enthusiasm hype level for the show that we're about to get into?
Dude, I'm all over. I'm I'm a pile of hyped enthusiasm in all its glory. I love this season. I don't get caught up with like the negative vibes if stuff shows up or doesn't show up or whatever. I like games. I like Xbox. So this season and this showcase is for me. I'm ready. I'm all the way. I think I'm a 10. 10 out of 10 hype enthusiasm level. I'm that hype guy. I wanna go like wild, and I'm a dude that does wild kind of predictions, and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but at least, you shoot your shot. Yeah, super hyped. A
Just to
game that
quickly round off my answer to that question,
yeah.
by the way, I am hyped. I don't really like putting a number on a thing, but if I was going to pick an area of that scale, it's very, very high. And I am talking between 8 and 10. And the reason for that is because I think this is really the first year that this is obviously the first year that Xbox is having a show, having acquired Activision, which means we get to see what Activision has been holding close to its chest, as well as what Bethesda has been working to its chest, been working on and keeping close to its chest, and anything that sits within the Xbox Game Studios they've got more in their catalog and their arsenal than they've ever had as a publisher before. That in itself is exciting, but obviously it's going to be really interesting to see what that translates to in terms of what's ready to show, what's moved on from when we last saw it, because I'm expecting some things to come back from 2020's show onwards. It's going to be interesting, but generally feel quite good about it.
Yeah, dude. If I could just like have something come true that I really just want to come true, I just need them to make a big Game Pass announcement with some of these Activision games, and I'll be totally satisfied. And
That's a low
also,
bar.
if I need to, yeah, it's a low bar, but I love
You have
these
to with
games, man.
Xbox, right? That's how
Well,
it works.
no, hey, go, no, get him out, get him out of here. It's playing too much Last of Us. No, but, but no, it is a low bar. I'm easily, happy with this, the stuff that they give me. But I just love games. All these games are super good. Activision has a lot of good games in their catalog that we remember more fondly than they might be. Like in those days, a lot of games got 7s and 6.5s, and we were totally okay with it. We actually quite enjoyed those styles of games before we got all internet heavy with our thoughts. So yeah, I'm ready to re-experience some of these games and then just dive in. So yeah, if I want something to be there, it's a lot of Activision Blizzard games, back catalog, and also Fable. I really want to see Fable. That's my big one. And if it's not there, meh. But yeah, just give me Fable. That's my like pie in the sky. Give me that, and I'll be super, 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 super happy. And it must be gameplay. But that's all. That's all really. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't want them to spend a long time on dropping back catalog. I want the back catalog to come in there. I want them to say like, here's all your Call of Duties and your ABK games, drop it into Game Pass, but I don't want that to take up more than like 5-10 minutes, because those are not new games. That's just a new way of accessing them. So tell me I can do it, stick them on there, and I'm good to go. My hype level is I'm a steady, immovable, unshakable, unswayable 5 out of 10 at all times. Whether it's going to be good, whether it's going to be bad, I'm a rock. I'm immune to marketing beats, so I'm just going to sit back and take it. I say that despite fully expecting it to be a really good show, and I think the generally the Xbox fan base that have been, and this is, I'm speaking too broadly because it's not the whole of the Xbox fan base that have been negative, but the noisy ones that I'm talking about, are suddenly going to turn on the spot and be incredibly happy for at least 4 days before they go miserable again.
Tim Dog's going to come back?
I don't like naming names of anyone, so I don't care. Honestly, I do not care. He can do what he wants. But yeah, I think typically, I know like representative of the fickle fan base, but typically I think the fan base is going to be very happy after the showcase. I think they've got an awful lot to show, and it will be really good. But I'm going to sit steady on my 5 before and after because, you know, I'm a boring guy. Gamzly.
What if they're all... Oh my god, Asa, I got your pie in the sky moment. What if all of these games have VR components to them?
Don't be silly, Gamzly.
What if they come out here, they're like, Asa, and they look in the camera, they're like, Asa, we have an announcement for you. Here is Xbox VR and every single one of these games playable in freaking VR. Is that one of your top moments of all time? Will that get you past the 3?
That will be a hell of a thing, but I'd stay at a 5. And episode 13, I have to clarify, I'm not predicting that the showcase will be a 5 out of 10 showcase. I'm just saying I'm not getting carried away with anything. I'm nice and relaxed. I'm chilled. I'm laid back. I'm sitting in my chair and I'm going to enjoy it. Hype
If what I
implies my
said-
heart rate would be going, and it's not. It's just normal. Barely even beaten.
Bro, I can guarantee you if what I said happened, you'd take a shit on your chair right in front of us all. Your heart rate would be 125 at least, and you'd have a great show. All right. We want to kick this off? Hit
Yeah,
that
go for
like
it, go for it,
button,
go for it.
subscribe, share it. Please, God, if you like this, share it out to your friends. And if you hate it, share it out still. Maybe somebody's going to like us. All right. So let's get on. Okay, so the Xbox showcase last year started with a huge bang, and then it started to get messy around the middle, but here are some games announced. So to start the show, we got a huge Fable reveal, right? The nice little gameplay, not gameplay trailer that had some mixed thoughts on the internet, but I think overly positive, in my opinion, or from what I've seen in the circles that I follow. So yeah, Fable in hindsight, and also do we see it, like, how do we feel about that trailer looking back, and do you think that we possibly get a follow-up here? How likely? We'll start with Asa. I want to hear Asa. What do you think, Fable? Coming back again?
Look, I told you I don't do predictions, so I'm just going to say yes, and I hope that they show that we can take the player character and change her with our actions. That's the thing that I miss most from Fable. And now that we've got into the realms of much more sophisticated motion capture and like capturing Isla's best friend, Lily Nichols, and putting her in the game, I want to be able to make a mutant evil demon with horns, or like really strong or overweight, or all of these kind of things that you used to be able to do in Fable. That's what I want from that game.
I would be really
Headley.
surprised and very disappointed if we didn't see those things, if they took that part out of it, because that was so core to your character development. Like it was featured on the box art, for fuck's sake. Like that whole sort of, you could basically turn yourself angel or demon depending on how much of a dick you wanted to be to NPCs. But we haven't seen any tease of that.
Do you
I'm
think
gonna
it,
be
like,
disappointed
plainly,
if
do
they
you think
change
it...
fundamentally?
Do you think that we get a reveal? Yes or no? Like, do
I
we
don't think
get a
so.
trailer? No? Okay.
I don't
So-
think so. I think it's probably got a little bit more time in the oven before it does.
Okay. Fair. So to answer my own question, I the hype moment for me, and all they gotta do to please me is show like her kicking a chicken, right? And then one kid's like, "Oi, chicken chaser!" And then that's it. Black screen. I'll be freaking excited. Let's go. I'm hyped. I'm ready. Don't at me with any, like, that's a terrible accent. I don't want to hear it. All right. I'm Canadian. Screw you guys. That would be my hype moment. And I hope they show up. I hope. Okay. Anything else? I could skip to the next one. So, yes or no? Yeah?
Yep.
All right, the next one that followed up, also controversial in some way because it wasn't entirely gameplay, but in hindsight, I'm still excited, or was still excited about this trailer, and am excited. South of Midnight, this was like a stop motion kind of game by Compulsion, their new game. I'll go first. I think we get gameplay. I just want to see gameplay. I want to see...
Have regrets.
Oh.
I don't want to do this for 30 games from the trailer. from
No.
show.
No, just the big ones. Just the big ones. I'm just doing the big ones, and then I'll name some of them, and that's it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Do we see?
Yes.
Yes or no? Do we see compulsion? Yes. Okay. Headley, do we see compulsion here with this game?
I hope so, but I'm actually leaning towards no.
Okay. All right.
Wait, was last
I was
year's
very
in
happy.
engine?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe.
It was.
So maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just want to see some cool gameplay with this too. I'm still hyped about it. So we'll see what happens with that. And then they followed up very nicely with a third banger here, Star Wars Outlaws, which we've seen countless times. I think it was a good move to have the 1-2-3 punch, like have a nice third party kind of publisher there, partnered. So that was a nice blend. Yeah. Are we excited for Star Wars? Do we see it coming here? Yes or no? That's all I need.
They've
I
got
don't think we see
marketing
it
on it, haven't
coming.
they? So they probably have to show it a little bit. Probably part of the deal to put it front and center in their showcase, rather than it being anything particularly interesting.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
change my answer then.
I agree. So what? You think it will show up? You think they spend
I
time on
initially
it?
said no, but actually, like, if they've got a marketing deal, then yeah, probably. There's probably gonna
Yeah,
be there's
them
probably gonna
showing
be
up.
one more. I can't see it being as in depth as the last one was. It could be that we get a little bit closer of a look at it at the Ubisoft event rather than the
Yeah.
Xbox one.
The depth, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it being at this or the past event will probably suggest they probably have it in some sort of way since it's launching quite soon, right? So yeah, I'm in agreement with Asa. I think this shows up. In hindsight, looking at 33 Immortals, this was also a big announcement that some of us did not really enjoy, but it seems like the preview's hitting. So I think this was a good announcement, but we don't see it at this year's event. Not at all. How about you guys? What do you think? 33's Immortals.
That's
Do
due
we
out
see
soon,
that? When's the
isn't it?
beta? It's any minute now, isn't it? Or already happening?
Yeah, it's super close, I think. They have like an early access beta kind of thing going on for select people, I think.
Guess they'll probably
Yeah.
include it somewhere, but
Yeah.
as a sizzle reel at the least.
Might do.
Yeah, and now these are rapid fire. I'm just going to name them and I won't ask any questions. So then they showed Payday 3, which to my opinion kind of came and went. So yeah, then there's Persona 3 Reloaded after that. And then another big banger in the middle of the show, they had Avowed, which I think is awesome. Do we see gameplay of Avowed in this?
Yeah.
Like more gameplay? Do we see it change in the engine, kind of shine a little bit more? What's well, not changing the engine, but just like tool sets? Do they flare it up a bit? What do we think?
Asa, do you want to take
Avowed.
this one first?
No, because I was getting confused by Tony, so I kind of missed the lead into that. We're going to see some Avowed. They're not going to focus on what engine it's on
Yeah.
because most people don't care. I mean, it's a very small subset of people that are following what engine technologies power these games.
What I mean is,
So they're
does
just
it look a little? Does it look differently? Does it look polished? Does it look like very, like is it a big change?
It's when was the last time we saw it? Like, was it a year ago or have we seen it
January.
since?
Yeah, last
January.
year. Yeah.
January. It's
No,
going to
it's
look like
this year.
5 months further along.
Oh, it's this year. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the developer direct in January.
Definitely.
okay,
It's
there
going
you
to look
go.
5 months more advanced than it did.
Perfect. Do we see it here? Yes or no, Headley?
Well, it's supposed to be out this year, isn't it? It's supposed to be coming this year.
Yeah, November rumor says.
Yeah, 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see it this year then, unless they've moved it, because we did hear about the Unreal Engine 5 story. But I think if they were going to delay it, they would have said that this side of the showcase. So I think we'd see it. Because they've
Yeah,
already
I think-
said on the developer direct it's coming out this year, so they'd have to walk that back before advertising it again on the bigger show.
If there is,
With the
I
wide
agree.
audience.
I agree. If it does come out this year, this is where we get the solid release date or the push, and that would be devastating. But I think they show it here, and I would love to see it again. I just want more information on it. Give me like quest structures on Avowed, and I would like that. So yeah, moving on. Then we got like a bunch of live service stuff. We got Sea of Thieves. We got the Flight Simulator. We got the Hellblade 2 release date. We saw how that is in hindsight. I thought they nailed it. Then we had exclusive partners like a dragon show up with Infinite Wealth, Sega's game, that also very like critically did very well this year. Then we saw Path of the Goddess.
I think we'll see Flight Sim as well, by the way, because that's due out this year as well, the 2024 update. So I think
I'd agree. I'm going by these fast because I want to get into the other thing, but I agree with this that I think all their live services are going to pop up in some sort of way, like ESO as well, etc., etc. But we'll talk more in depth after that. Path of the Goddess. This is Capcom, I believe. Yes, Capcom. The showing for this was in this showcase was quite interesting, or developed direct, whatever you want to call it. Was quite interesting, and I'm interested in this game. How about you guys? Does this show up like here? I don't see a point, but I think
because again, marketing.
We know what this is.
Usually when there are marketing deals in place, which this one clearly has, and it's coming to Game Pass and all the rest of it, but usually part of the marketing deal, part of the value proposition for Capcom for taking that deal is that their game is included in showcases. That's so that's why, same for Star Wars, I think we probably will see it because it's probably written into a contract that we should see it.
Yeah. Okay. I hope they don't. I hope they don't. But yeah, Headley, does this show up here?
I'm struggling
Yes or no?
This one. I'm struggling to ring a bell on this one.
That's the weird one. There's a ninja with a feather duster cleaning demons, and then it's like a part RTS, and it's weird.
Here, Asa. I actually have if you want to play the trailer for him, I have it here, or the audience. It's
no, because
in the
you
docket
link
at the far
IGN
bottom.
Again. You always link me trailers from IGN, and I don't know it from there, so I'm going to find it myself. Yeah.
No, this is you little shit. No, this is not IGN. Though. I don't think that. Are you sure? I don't think it's IGN.
The first one that comes up is from Capcom, so that'll do.
Yeah. So Path of the Goddess, I like this. I like what Capcom is doing with their support of Game Pass. I think they're doing what's necessary for some of their smaller titles, and this is one of those titles they probably want a lot of eyes on and try to get a boost from it. So yeah, this looks fun. It's not going to be for everybody.
Indie showcase earlier this year.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Sorry, A showcase. I don't know if it's the indie one, but it
was the IGN
showcase.
IGN potentially. Oh, that was an indie one.
Probably IGN.
Yeah, I do.
Does anyone remember where we saw this game? We've definitely seen it this year. I can't remember which event.
We saw it definitely in the showcase, like the last showcase of Xbox. That's definitely where we saw it. But we probably did see it again at some point by IGN.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't remember the Duster. Never mind. I would remember that for sure. It wasn't.
So then there was. This is also where this showcase last showcase that we got from Xbox, we also saw Forza Motorsport. That's when the reveal official trailer and the release date dropped and whatever. So there you go. That also came out. It landed with a kind of a thud and then kind of went away. But we play that game a lot in our game nights, right, Asa? So if you like anything Forza, you should pop on by our Discord, and we get playing that on Sundays most of the time, right?
One or the other. Yeah, we do a big mix between Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport. They're both nice and easy to get into. So rally expansion and snowy weather, no problem.
Yep. All right. Moving on to Overwatch 2 Invasions. That was
what? Yep.
That was. Yep, that was a trailer. Persona 5 Tactics. We also got Starfield and Jasant. And then we got Still Wakes the Deep, which also got another trailer recently this week, I think, which
That's
this is like
coming
that.
to Game Plus this month.
Yeah, that yes, exactly. So that's this month's. It's coming to fruition here. That was the oil kind of rig. Like it takes place on an oil rig, kind of creepy. Um,
I'm really
I
interested
don't
in that
quite.
actually. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, I don't think we see it. It's coming out soon. Then Dungeons of Hinterberg was the next game after that, which this is getting a lot of attention. Yeah, this was
Mm.
shown there. This is getting a lot of attention recently as well. Then we got the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty reveal, which was cool. That's a partner. They obviously will not. It comes out so. City Skylines 2. Metaphor. This was also a big announcement. Partnerships with Sega and all that stuff. I'm really hyped about this. Do we see Metaphor here? This is one of the games that is very possible to get a follow up here. Just do on like partnering.
Yeah, we'll see it again.
Agreements. Yeah, because we did see a lot of this game. Do you think they do it again? Because we saw a lot. This was like a 2-minute something trailer of gameplay and everything, and we got a direct on it too. Quite interesting.
Yeah, it's still like there's still quite a lot of unknown about it, quite a lot up in the air, and it still carries that Atlas name, and they still want to make that Persona link more clear for people, I think. So I reckon we'll still see it.
I'm gonna go against it, but yeah. What do you think, Headley? This is Sega's big thing from the Persona team.
I'm struggling to place Metaphor, but I do hope that we end up seeing a little bit more from the little collection that Sega was working on. The one that had Golden Axe in it and a couple others. I'd love to see that at the Xbox showcase. And
Metaphor
possibly
is
a Game Pass drop. That would be nice.
no, it's not coming to Game Pass. Definitely not.
No,
Metaphor? No. Yeah.
no. The Sega stuff that they're working
Oh
on.
yes,
Golden
yes,
Axe and
yes.
shit, but I don't know what's going on with that. And we may not see it.
Looks incredible. If you want to put that on for Deadly as I read the rest of these things really rapidly, I put the trailer again in the docket if you want to play Metaphor. But this game is a highlight to me, and if it's shown here, it's still going to be a highlight for me. I love the look of this game. I think Sega's got their bag with this game. It's going to be big.
Luke has said that one's already confirmed for Summer Game Fest as well, so it might not be at the Xbox one. But...
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a smart move. I don't think they need to... Because they went really deep into this one multiple times this year, so I don't know if we see this. But you could put it up for Headley. Next up, we had, right after Metaphor, we got Towerborn. And now this is the one that I think is rumored... Well, there's a rumor shadow drop that going around the industry. And this is a rumor that I might kind of gel with. I would like to see it happen. I think it shows up in this event on Sunday almost 100%. And I think there's a leak, or Tom Henderson or somebody said that it might have an early access drop, and announcing that in the Xbox showcase, they like just drop it right after the show would be very smart for this game. But yeah, Towerborn looks awesome. Castle Crasher vibes. It's getting good vibes from the industry at the moment. So I think this is a big one. I think it shows up, and I think it shadow drops. What do you think?
It made some really positive noises at Gamescom, I believe, as well. So yeah, I think it's gathering a lot of interest. I think it could be ripe for a shadow drop. It's not sort of too big to miss in a shadow drop, but similarly, I do think Xbox should be wary about it. We obviously don't know all of the ins and outs with what happened to Hi-Fi Rush or Tango Gameworks and why, but shadow dropping Hi-Fi Rush may have skewed Microsoft's metrics of perception when it comes to how that game was received and what quote unquote success looks like for Microsoft. So risky game with a shadow drop, but I don't know. Shadow drops also create a lot of hype and discussion and excitement as well. So it's really important to find that balance, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Towerborn, Asa, what do you think?
Yeah, it was, like people have said, it was playable at Gamescom. Leave the migraines there. Smashing NDAs, I suspect, to say that he's in the beta and is enjoying it at the moment. Yeah, it's very likely that it releases. It's very likely that it hits early access, and that's going to be upsetting for me because I don't like early access, and people are going to pressure me to play it. I'm going to play it because it looks really
We're
good
gonna
already.
pressure the fuck out of you, man. Like this is one of those games that you jump in with friends.
I know, and it is, when they revealed it, they pushed it as having like a seasonal structure. So it feels like it would be wrong to not be there at the start when it's got progression as a core, like central part of the way that it works over time. So yeah. Fresh doesn't think that any game should be shadow drops. I mean, I'm sure, Microsoft will have lots of metrics on whether it's worth it or not. It is a marketing beat in itself, but also a lack of marketing in tandem, so it's a tricky one.
Yeah, and this one here, so we have that skepticism because Hi-Fi Rush went the way it did and all that stuff, but for these types of games we have to kind of remember that this is like very heavy co-op game so by extension you're gonna grab other people in it if you like it, if there's a 10 out of 10 game, whatever. It's just an easier game to jump in and enjoy with friends, and it's built to do that. So it's built to really grab people like that. So in this case, I think this could really benefit from all these people's eyes being on the event for Call of Duty, etc., etc., and then bam, this thing comes out that you don't want to play, or maybe it's the only thing to play at the moment that's in Game Pass, right? So, well, not the only thing, but you know what I mean, co-op wise. So, yeah, if this lands and it's good and it reviews well, it won't matter that Shadow Drop. People will, by extension, word of mouth will spread like wildfire. This could benefit in a weird way from it. But yeah, my opinion, I could be wrong. But I think we see it. I think it drops in early access for sure at the show. That's just my opinion. All right. Moving on. We're at the end. So Clockwork was then showed off right after, and this one blew my mind. I think this was the big game of that showcase that really intrigued me, and I love this team, and I'm a big fan of them. This is Exile's next game. Everything about this game I'm intrigued with, and I think this shows up again. Yeah, I think this shows up again. How about you guys?
Yep, and it does look really very interesting as well. It's probably quite tricky for them to show the extent of choice and consequence in the trailer. Not that difficult. I'm sure they can manage with a few little crossfades, no problem at all. Like, this is what happens if you made one, and this is what happens if you made the other kind of trailer. I'd like to see it more. I'd rather this Clockwork Revolution would be the game that I would want to have the extra half an hour direct after the show, rather than Call of Duty, because I don't care about Call of Duty, and I'd like to know a lot more about Clockwork Revolution.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, me too. How about you, Headley? You think Clockwork shows up?
It looks really cool. Did we get a release window last year? Or like a release year?
I don't think so.
No.
It looked like it was in really good shape. So maybe we get another, like, a small look at it. Because it could be that we get like a year window, which I assume would be 2025. And then that could be something that's then sort of saved as a direct deep dive for January.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I guess a broad question for both of you guys. How much more content do you think we're going to get from Xbox in 2024 that we don't already know about?
Well, it's
If any.
rumored that five games are probably, again, I think this was a Tom Henderson thing. I don't want to misquote. I'm pretty sure, but somewhere someone said, or maybe Grub, said something like 5 new games might be announced here that we have no idea about. So coming from Xbox first parties, I believe that was the quote. So I think they hit that 10 that they were talking about in that business update. I think they land 10, at least 10 games or content of some sort will drop this year. And I think we see around 18-ish, 18 to 20, 24 games in this showcase. I think they got a lot of content coming out, man. I'm super excited. That's why I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So from
Yeah,
what I
makes sense.
gather, there's a very believable kind of soft roadmap going around. That we've got the Diablo content expansion, we've got Starfield Shattered Space, we've got Call of Duty, we've got Avowed, and we've got Indie still coming this year, as well as Towerborn. But if you put those like aiming for a bit of content per month, there isn't actually a massive gap in the schedule for anything additional that we don't already know about. So long as they do hit all of those targets, I'm not sure there is anything else coming. Like Age of Mythology has been retelling for a long time, so that might appear somewhere, somewhen, but I don't think they're light on content already, so they'll probably be saving for next year from there.
Yeah.
Oh,
The back half
okay.
of this year is stacked. The front half of this
Huge.
year has been fairly anemic, but the
Yeah.
rest of the
Yeah.
year is actually looking really good.
Yeah, this is one of those years that if spread properly would suggest that they could hit one big game per
Yeah.
quarter, like they said, right? If
But-
spread
but
properly
then
in the
And
first
Flight
place.
Sim,
Last
yeah,
year
Scourge,
was
thank you.
exceptionally good. From like
Scourge,
back
Scourgy.
to back as well. Last year was exceptionally good.
What'd you say, Asa?
I just pointed out Flight Sim in there is this year as well, as one that I didn't list at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in hindsight, what do you think of how they delivered that showcase? Looking back, do we still think that this was a strong showing for Xbox? And then I'm going to segue into some things that we can expect or think this showcase will deliver in a different way. So I'll start with Deadly. What do you think? In hindsight, how was that showcase? Like, it was,
I
to me, it was very
remember it
structured.
feeling strong. I remember it feeling
Yeah.
like a very strong show. Hearing it back, kind of want a little bit more this year.
Really? Oh my god! And hearing,
I think
I
it
have a
was good. It was
completely
good,
other.
but
Oh my
think-
god! I have a
hope this year
completely
is
other
stronger than
look.
last year. And last year was really, really good. I think we saw a lot.
Yeah.
But then we also had like a really bad year the year before as well. So I think
Yeah.
that probably, I don't know. It was what we got last year was really good. I really enjoyed the Starfield deep dive as well. And to be honest, it was the reason why I felt so good about last year's show was because it opened with Fable and it closed with Starfield, two games that I'm
Hell yeah.
so fucking excited about.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was really happy with how that was top and tailed. I think the cadence might be a little bit more upbeat with like bigger hits this year, based on the fact that they now have
Just the sheer
more in their
number.
arsenal than they had before. Exactly that. Like there's so many studios now. Like we're talking 30. So we've been told 30 games.
Mhm.
As far as I'm aware, you're not going to get you're not going to get more than one game from any one particular studio, are you? But they've got they've got way more than 30 studios, like way more than 30 studios now. So it's gonna it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really interesting.
All right.
We're going to
so
get, so
Asa,
this
with
year we're going to get the
hindsight-
same lull in the middle, right? This year we're going to get the same lull where they go, here's Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Sea of Thieves, and some content for Forza as well or something. Unless they can like cart that off to Summer Game Fest or something, which they should seriously consider doing because that still gets a lot of eyes. It does hurt the pacing. In terms of that last year one, those games that we just ran through, thing with the Xbox showcases is I think in the moment they're good every year, and the way that I would kind of judge them more so is on how much of it is real and how much of it we actually see. Because in prior years when you had Contraband and Everwild and State of Decay 3 and all of these kind of things, these were still good showcases in that these were interesting conceptually. These games will probably turn out really good one day, but then they all just disappeared. Perfect Dark just disappeared for years and fell off the radar. None of those games that you just listed there that we've just gone through feel like they've disappeared into the ether in the same way, right? They're still, some of them were further out than you might like, but none of them feel like they were joke projects that were teased because there was nothing in the pipeline and they just needed to pull together a CGI trailer for something. These are all real projects that have all made progress in that time span. and we're talking about seeing them again rather than I hope that one's coming back at some point in our lifetime. So I think last year's showcase was pretty good. I think this year's showcase will be, because their pipeline is getting itself in order, because these are they're not grasping at straws in the same way. So these are going to be tangible projects. They're going to be real things, and I think it will end up being a step up again over last year.
Yeah. And I'm going to use that into the segue because I'm in agreement. And the point you said about the last, like that kind of first showcase where they showed all these, Everwild and all that stuff to call back to that. I think that's why this showcase is going to be so strong, or can be so strong, because they might bring those into light. And that's what I think they're going to do. This year, I think we see one of those games that went off the radar come back in a big way. And I think that would be a strong move to say, look, this is what we saw for a long time. It just took some time, and now they're ready. And I think that will reassure a lot of the fan bases that were interested in those games to be like, look, we just had a great 2020, I don't know, 3 Starfield popped in. All those games we mentioned are real. They're going along nicely. And also we got a lot of those games landing with a good, decent, thump. So here are this is the next step, right? So I think they freaking open with Perfect Dark. In the middle, they go with the zombie game. What is that called?
State of Decay 3.
State of Decay. Yeah, I think they hit Perfect Dark in the beginning. They give us State of Decay in the middle, and then they just land it with Gears of War 6. And then if you sprinkle in between those 3 quarters anything you want, Game Pass games, all that stuff, it's gonna be packed, man. I'm super enthusiastic.
From the 2020 list that I think you've missed off. Two games from the 2020 list that you've missed off. I'd be interested to know if you think they're going to come back. We've heard rumors from one of them that it might be in a little spot of difficulty and needs more time in the oven, which is Contraband. The other one, I'm really keen to see, but there's a lot of doubt around it because we've just heard Radio Silence, but I have also heard rumors from other podcasts that it's in quite a nice spot, is Everwild.
Yeah, I see. So the chat's popping off. So look at, for instance, first off, I don't even think I care, right? Well, in terms of Contraband, that's like a third party kind of deal that I was never really interested in the first place. I think that was it's a convoluted market. The target of that specific game is very, it's just there's so much of that style of game out there, like that from what they've sold me in that showcase when they announced Contraband, is that it was like this heist game, multiplayer, blah blah blah. I've had enough of those games, and it was only interesting because they were so dry. To Asa's point, right? I don't think there's place because I said the 3 things I just said, and those are big titles from first party studios that are missing and that are big. And then I left off things like Doom and all of these big names that they have to sprinkle in there, I think are going to be enough. Like, if you think about it, like, I don't care about Contraband and all that. If they show up first party and they show up properly with what I just said, I think that's already kind of a big dude, man. Doom, Gears 6, Call of Duty, Perfect Dark, they reinsure us with State of Decay 3, and they still have all that, they have all that room to sprinkle.
Just listening to you say that, Gamzly.
Game Pass games.
All of those games were shooting stuff. They need to show Everwild alongside them.
Yeah, Everwild. Well, yes, maybe, but I think that's why you get the Towerborns and you get the, other stuff like that sprinkled in that are really big hitters that come from them, and that are not in a troubled state, and you leave Rare to cook. I don't think we need to see Everwild again until we really need to see it. And I think you make that cook as long as possible, and you give us what is already there, ready, and you learn your lessons from 2022, and you give us stuff that we can see, like Asa said, that are prominent, that are in our face, and that is coming next year or the year after, not like 4 years. I think Everwild is just too troubled at this point. And we just heard on that point, Contraband is a little bit in trouble as well somewhere in a rumor mill. So I don't know. Avalanche is going through a ton of layoffs, so that's never a good sign too. So, yeah, I'm just not enthusiastic about those two titles, and I don't think I need to be because they have just so much. I don't think
Mhm.
they need to concern themselves. But yeah, that's just my thought. I could be wrong.
So, before we move on, it's not a lot to move on to because we have run through a full show length now. But before we do, does anybody have anything else that they want to say about the Xbox showcase other than that you're massively excited, looking forward to watching it on Sunday?
I've got a few more that I'm just gonna to breeze through quickly as things I'm either expecting to see or have been rumored. We're obviously going to see Shattered Space. We haven't heard much about that, other than it's potentially quite big. So really, really interested to see that reveal because I think Starfield was a big moment for Xbox, a big moment for a lot of Bethesda fans, and to see what else Bethesda is going to add to this game, I think is going to be really interesting. And for a lot of people, they've already, bought that or invested into it via either early access or a deluxe edition or one of the Game Pass add-ons that Starfield launched with. So quite interested to see that. The Alters was teased at the indie Xbox showcase earlier this year. I think we're going to see that again because I think that's due out this year. So that would be really cool. That was the one where you play as one character, but he's got a bunch of clones that all made like
Yeah,
different
super cool,
life
man.
choices and decisions that affect
Hmm.
their appearance and their personality and stuff, and you sort of conflict with each other basically. Indiana Jones, I think it's fair to say we're going to get that
Yep.
on a concrete release date. Gears of War 6 has been floated around a lot.
Hmm.
Hopeful, and I think that's more than likely. Doom has been near enough confirmed, but not officially. Stalker 2 is coming out in September. I hope we see that again because I'm really excited for Stalker 2. And actually, I would really like some of that peace of mind to see something that's more polished than what we saw at Gamescom last year because I wasn't impressed. I was really looking forward to seeing more of Stalker 2, but I wasn't impressed with what we saw at Gamescom. It just looked too rough around the edges. They've had more than they've had an extra year to keep it in the oven, and again, rightfully so. GSC Game World should because they are based in Ukraine, and have obviously been pretty preoccupied, quite heavily actually, because they lost a developer in combat at one point. So
Yeah.
they can take all the time they want. Do you think we see a Forza Horizon 6, or is it too soon?
No, they don't need to. Like just
I
for the
agree
pure
with you.
fact
I
of
don't think they need it.
yeah, just for the pure fact, like you just stated like you just listed so many freaking games, and on top of that, there's still more
And
that's
that was
potentially there,
only what I could think of on the
including
top of my head.
exactly, including all the
Crazy.
Activision stuff, including
Mhm.
like it's just like the Game Pass
Well,
layups that they have,
there's
including pop
there's no
up,
Activision
including
stuff on this list, man.
including
It's
I know
crazy.
including just games from partners like Final Fantasy 16 maybe popping up is like huge, right? So there's a lot of big moments that could happen in this showcase, and it's very intriguing. But yeah, no, I don't think so.
Good.
Do you briefly want to talk about the Halo 1 PlayStation rumor or not?
Briefly, so it's not just the Halo on PlayStation rumor. You can by all means use it to push your little video again though, because that does deserve to get those views in there. So do that. But the rumor that's gone around is that we're getting a remaster remake of some kind of Halo Combat Evolved, so the first Halo game. And then it may or may not be coming to PlayStation as well as Xbox. So generally, forgetting what platforms it's on, the idea of, I mean, what do you want to see from a reboot from Halo? Because my fear is that they're going to use it as an opportunity to swap to the voice actor from the TV series and balk the whole timeline, rather than do a nice faithful recreation of the game that I love. Well, the guy's
I don't think they
70-something years old. Like Mario retired, Master Chief's going to retire.
I see what you mean. Sorry, I thought like if you, I don't think they're going to reboot the Halo series in a way that then
To
follows the
align with the
Silver
TV
timeline.
show.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
it will. He's
it's
just
a
put it
fair
out in the
point.
universe. It's happening now. We're all gonna be depressed.
I think, I hope that it still features Jen Taylor. But it could be possible that actually maybe we end up seeing the retiring of Steve Downes because he can't do it forever. As fantastic a job as he has done. So yeah, it's an interesting talking point.
What's happening, Gamzly? Do you want it? No, Deadly Headley, carry on. You paused. I thought
happened?
you were done. Go again.
No, that's okay. I had paused. I was sort of done. Gamzly, have you got anything else to add to the Halo discussion? Or the Halo 1
I
PlayStation discussion?
Well, I'm just gonna be really quick on it. I think if this thing happens, there's two thoughts. If it's Master Chief Collection as it stands now, right, and they put it on there, I think it would be incredible. Timing is everything to me, and I don't think the timing is proper right now. And I think that's a move that you should do when everything's hitting and is on a top level that people are already adopting your service. So if people are already adopting Game Pass very heavily because of Call of Duty in the past year, and all these games that we just mentioned on the show start to land, and they land big, and people, you get the big number, it doesn't hurt to get extra revenue, and people won't be scared off your platform, right? Because Chief is there. But if you do it right now and you announce it now when games are not releasing and they're just announced and all this stuff, I would say it's a mistake, and you should hold it very close to your chest until you're very like stable in your message.
Agreed.
And that's it. That's all I got to say. If you're gonna do
Yeah.
it, do it way after, do it when Halo, I don't know, is taking off on your platform first, and then have it somewhere else
I think that's a
after
really
to
good
Dragon.
point.
Stagnate it as long as possible. But yeah,
I think it's a really good point. It could be something that they try and tie in with a TV series release at some point. I don't know. Maybe, after seeing the success of Fallout, if they've got control over being able to go, hey, new audience, do you like that TV show? You may not own the console that it was launched on, but here, it's coming somewhere else. I don't know. Any way they cut it, Xbox is going to receive backlash. I have constructed a set of strong arguments for and against Xbox doing this. So if that's a conversation that you want to listen to, or an opinion piece that you want to go and watch, you can do. That's on my YouTube channel. And please make sure, if you do, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. And make sure that you share it out with anybody who you think might like it too. Yeah, in terms of the impact on what that move might have for Xbox, like I said, I think there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons for it if Microsoft is going to do that.
timing.
Whether or not they do
Timing,
is a
man.
different story. I think it's more than likely that they're going to.
Yep.
So,
All right.
Let's move on from the Xbox showcase then to really quickly. So Jeff Keighley says that Summer Game Fest is going to suck, so we don't need to talk about that one, which I think means we're more or less ready for our questions, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you want to say anything about Summer Game Fest? He's not said it's going to suck. Obviously, it's his showcase and he's very pleased with it, but he's trying to set expectations to trying to temper expectations and make sure people don't get too carried away for what's at Summer Game Fest. But we're still going to watch it, aren't we? Excited for it? Is there anything in particular? And we will try and keep this one brief because, we have run and we do need to get to these questions. But Summer Game Fest, Deadly Headley.
Yeah.
Or Gamzly, whatever's.
I don't know. I struggle to get enthusiastic about that, but it's fine. If there aren't too many ads and the focus isn't on the Rock's new energy drink, then I'm in. It wasn't
I think
last
we
year, to be fair.
upset Isla.
They did do a good job.
Hmm.
They did do a good job of not filling it with ads last year. No, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I'm sorry about E3, man. I like it's not E3 and it's not the same, and it's just a bit.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah.
Hmm.
If I could hop in, very brief. We got some interesting, like, I forgot what article. I should have cited it, but this is floating around X, and it was reported in some way that like it's something around 250,000 to 450,000, depending on how, like an hour, like 250,000 for 1 minute of gameplay
Hmm.
time on the Game Fest stage. That's really expensive for a lot of people. And it's a very interesting thing. Um, yeah, my enthusiasm on the show itself is not crazy high. It's just the whole month in general that's really grabbing me, that he likes to claim, right, as his. Oh, look, this is the month of Summer Game Fest or whatever,
Mm.
like Asa has said. But I'm excited for the showcases around this month. Yeah, I'm hyped on those. I'm just, yeah,
How much do you
I'm hyped.
reckon
I want E3
Kojima
too
pays per
because
minute?
uh, huh?
How much do you reckon Hideo Kojima pays Jeff Keighley per minute of his time? Or
per
is it the other way
minute
around? Is
minute.
that where the funds go?
I think yeah, I think Kojima gets money per minute. I think that's the difference. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting month. I'm super hyped. This is, like you said, Headley. I wish it was E3 because I wish that it was more time manageable. Like I could
Mm.
just sit there like a hockey game and watch it for like 2 days and I get everything instead of like dragging it for a whole month. And it's very hard to cover this stuff for outlets as well, and
Mm.
keep focus on games because people's lives move on. So if you're doing it in the span of a month, it's really easy to forget the games. You know what I mean? By the time that,
Yeah.
or miss a showcase, then you don't even see it. So yeah, I'm always gonna
The
have
summer
time.
year is
It's part
always
of
really
my,
exciting, though, man.
yeah, it's part of my
Oh,
hobby,
excuse
right?
me.
So I'm gonna be keyed in. I'm gonna be keyed into all of the showcases, but I would like it to have been E3 formatted in 2 days
Mhm.
or 3 days. Yeah.
It's a funny thing because like all of the showcases are all massively expensive marketing events at their heart, and we consume it willingly because we're interested in video games and it's the kind of marketing, yeah, it's targeted at us, and we can find some joy in it. But there's just something about Summer Game Fest where you see this like $250,000 a minute, you see all the adverts that go in there, you see Jeff Keighley saying, "Oh, every event in June is part of Summer Game Fest. Honest, Governor, we're really important," and it just makes it all feel like that horrible corporate marketing stuff that, yes, they all are, but it's just, you can see beneath this one and it's a little bit horrible. Yet there will probably
don't
be
like the. Go on.
go on. I was just gonna say, yeah, despite all
I
of that, it doesn't really take away the validity or the excitement around the trailers that are shown, and there probably will be some good things in there. There usually are some good things in there. I'm gonna feel like little twang of sadness when I realise this good game probably they had to pay $250,000 or more to put this trailer in there. Everyone's gonna look at these trailers and start looking at the timer along the bottom, going, "Oh, it's getting to a minute. It's probably going to end this trailer because otherwise it gets even more expensive." And it's a weird way
$2
of
million.
consuming it. Yeah, but
I don't mind that Keighley puts on a big show. The thing that does annoy me is that he sort of uses that as an excuse to lump everything under the same Summer Games Fest umbrella, and it's not true. Like it just because it's happening in the same week doesn't mean it's part of the same event. And for you to kind of just claim that it is, the most egregious example of that being when we got the GTA 6 reveal in the same week as Keighley's Game Awards show, and he basically tried to conflate the two, and he was like, no, this has nothing to do with you. You're not responsible for this happening." And for you to pretend that you are is a bit, it's just a bit cringe.
But it's like it's just the pinnacle of clout chasing, isn't it? Like, hasn't he just done
It
what so
is.
many other
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are trying to do?
Yeah.
Effectively put his name on things that, yeah, got the attention that he saw, and is charging a lot of money for time on that stage now. So, to some regard, you have to say fair play. Like the hustle paid off, but just we can all see the hustle. So,
It's true. Are we gonna get to questions? Is that what's gonna happen?
yeah, we're gonna get to questions. We're gonna do that right now because I think the seething anger is growing. So, first question is from Dennis. It is. Will we ever see the Fire Axis IPs come back, meaning Mech Assault, Crimson Skies, and Shadowrun? Gaming publishing rights are all still owned by Microsoft. When are we going to see any of those? Are we going to see any of those? Shadowrun's exciting to a lot of people for a lot of reasons because, you know, magic and ogres and stuff was cool. Mech Assault, everybody loves seeing buildings explode. And Crimson Skies is...
I really liked Shadowrun on the 360.
Yeah, Shadowrun was a cool game. And the world and all the other Shadowrun games and the whole universe. Go on, Gamzly.
This is a good question, man. Mech Assault, dude. Mech Assault somehow makes its way here. I would be super hyped. Will we ever see these IP? I think we see Shadowrun at some point. I think that's a easy kind of jump here. It's popular in a lot of eyes. Yeah, man. Shadowrun. Yeah, I could see Shadowrun. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say it's a good live service game because obviously the 360 one that you're talking about was their kind of pioneering cross-platform between Windows and 360, and it was a shooting competitive game. But the rest of the Shadowrun games are not. They're RPGs. There's a series of 3 relatively recent and probably some older ones as well. It is a well-storied world for storytelling, which is a terrible sentence. I regret putting those words together in the way that I did, but live service is an option. As we've seen, there's a lot that you can do there. There's a lot that you can do in a world with guns and magic and trolls and all of the things that it has going on. So I would like to see it, but then it needs the right studio to have the right appetite to want to do that if it's going to be any good. Same with so many IPs, especially with they've got ZeniMax, they've got Activision Blizzard King, they've got their own collection of IPs from studios that they've gutted in years gone by. There are so many things that they could bring back, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea.
It is nuts how many things are going to be floating around behind Microsoft's walls now.
Yep. So, non-committal answer. Let's have the next question, please. Last chance to add more questions. Yeah, we'll blast through a few of them. Lethal Migraine, I know it's only 10, but I've got streaming to do as well, you know. Got to get some games in before sleep. Boozy the Clown. Co-op heist with vehicular combat. Please name them. I think this might be the question that wasn't supposed to go in. But it might be a real question. Co-op heist with vehicular combat. Please name them. We're going to take it as a real question, even though I don't think it is. Contraband definitely had vehicles, but I'm not sure vehicular combat as such, because it was kind of 70s, wasn't it?
I thought it did.
Maybe.
Does GTA
Contraband
count?
is the answer. Sure, why not? You can do heists in there.
Contraband is the answer.
I do think that one was a mistake. Yeah, no worries. He's confirmed that was not a real question.
Cool.
I think this was about me basically saying that there's a lot of these types of games, like a contrabandy type of games, and he was saying, "Oh, heist, blah blah blah?" Question mark. Fair point, but that's not necessarily what I was saying. I was saying in terms of like, there's so much things on the market that they want players to spend their time in, like multiplayer online games. I just clump all together nowadays because they all compete for your time, and I'm just not interested in another one of those things because I have so many of the live service games that I'm cycling, and I don't think Contraband really has a chance, as I don't think Concord has a chance either, for the same reasons. I think people are just on the, like, they're just at least not for long, you know, so that's why it just doesn't interest me. That's all. Nothing else. But fair point. It's a good call out. Anyway,
you got an answer for the accidental question, but here's a real question from Boozy the Clown. what would be a good celebrity appearance? And the easy, immediate, like reactive answer is none. We don't want celebrities, we want games. But then you look back at the impact that Keanu Reeves had with the Cyberpunk, whatever stage that was on. People do like the celebrity appearances. So, Deadly Headley, can you think of anyone that you'd love to see that would make your showcase complete? Yes.
Harrison Ford with Troy Baker introducing Indiana Jones.
Oh, oh yeah. Now you're talking.
Good.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Damn, that's a good one. I'm gonna. Oh shit. I'm gonna copy you. I'm just gonna say screw Troy Baker. All right, just give me Harrison Ford pretending to be Troy Baker.
This is just like Joel from The Last of Us.
Yeah, exactly. Just troll him. That would be funny as hell. Call him out or something. That would be fun. Yeah, that's my answer. Just have Harrison Ford plop on stage and just insult
like
Troy. Yeah.
Batista introducing the fucking Gears collection.
What was the game that had Nicolas Cage come out and it was like it was Dead by Daylight or something? Like that was really awkward.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want that moment again. I want Nicolas Cage in a similarly curtain-coloured suit to just come out and look really awkward and say some nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in agreement with all this. I'm in agreement with this vibe. Just some weird celebrity vibe popping out there. Yeah.
Properly awkward one who's never played a video game in their life and is like, I regret taking this gig, but it's part of the contract and I'm here.
Definitely Harrison Ford energy. It just comes out there and it just insults everything.
Yeah. There you go, Boozy. That's our answers for that one. So next question, please. Ooh. Hold on. The little pause. The little pause is coming. Driver series. That's not a question. Next question, please.
Stefan.
This one's from Tony. Question for Headley. Will you cosplay as Superman for Tony? Also, minimize. Right. Also, what do you think about Xbox not showing release dates this Sunday?
I'm not going to cosplay as Superman. But no. It's the answer to that.
Yeah. You know, Tony.
What do I think about Xbox not showing release?
He's being skeptical. He's being a little prick. I love
Is
you,
it because I'm
Tony.
wearing glasses, Tony? Is that why? I can be your Clark Kent, but I can't be your Superman.
Dude,
I assume the release date question is more open. I don't know why he wants you to dress as Superman and you specifically, because I've not seen any hint or roots of this conversation, but Tony is going to Tony and we love him for it. The release dates, Tony is adamant that if a game doesn't have a release date on it, he doesn't care for it being in the showcase. And I said earlier to him, he's going to be very disappointed because there are not going to be many release dates on the trailers because release dates are just a risk. If you're not 100% sure that you can hit it, then you don't tell people it. Microsoft has learned that lesson the hard way when they did their developer direct and said all of these games are coming out within 12 months, and none of those games came out within 12 months. So they're going to be really release date shy on anything that's not 100% already like complete cement ready to come out. Cool.
Yeah, Tony. So there is some dates hinted by, I believe, a podcast from, again, Tom Henderson, where he's pretty sure a lot of the stuff they're going to show, like Towerborn, for instance, has early access. That's like a rumor coming out this Sunday that there might be an early access drop. Avowed targeting November is one of the rumors. Indiana Jones targeted in December. Starfield expansion September. COD October. Etc. Etc. I think we get some, like maybe two solid, actual solid release dates that drop for some of these, and not just targeting using that verbiage. So I think we get at least two solid big title release dates. Hopefully.
In which case, Tony will be drastically disappointed because that makes it a 2-game showcase for him.
Yeah, unfortunate. Screw you, Tony. I love you. I love you so much. Don't take that.
Right. So unless Deadly Headley has changed his mind on the Superman cosplay, I think we're ready for the next question.
Yeah, I would also Tony.
He's
Tony-
so
Oh, you're
perturbed that
muted,
he's
Deadly.
muted his microphone.
But by the way, Tony, I'm just gonna say, Headley can only cosplay as me if he cuts off his fingers. So I don't think that's happening. I'm evil.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's
next
a lot of work
question.
for a cosplay, but I also support it. So, I hate this question. It comes up and I should have an answer. What's your favorite game of all time?
Do you want the answer that's going to piss off Gamzly or my actual answer?
Yeah, Last of Us. Yeah.
First one, then t'other.
My my answer to piss off Gamzly is The Last of Us Part 2.
God damn
My
it.
my favorite game of all time is Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
I
I
want
know
to
it
really
changed.
quickly ask though, before you go, Gamzly, I just want to know, Deadly Headley, is that for the campaign or for the
Yeah.
multiplayer or the combo?
Both. And I think there's a lot of nostalgia and fondness for that sort of time as well. I remember I had dabbled with online gaming with the PS2 back when it first started supporting that, but when Xbox Live became a thing, when Halo 2's multiplayer first went online, like it was life changing. I loved the campaign in Halo 2 as well. I understand why a lot of people didn't really like how it ended. I was actually quite happy with the cliffhanger. But looking back, I wish that it was less sort of rushed towards the end, because it did sort of start to it just sort of hurried it along when they shouldn't have done, really. But yeah, I loved everything about Halo 2, and it was sort of I've got friends on Xbox now that I still that I've had since Halo 2 back in 2004 when that came out. So I like people I've known for 20 years who I met on Halo 2. So I think it just generally sort of holds like a really special place in my heart anyway.
Yeah.
Asa, I know why the question, or is it more to curiosity? Where are you with
Curiosity,
Halo 2?
yeah,
I know you're
no,
also
just
a Halo
curiosity. I'm a massive
How,
Halo fan. Actually,
how
I
did you
prefer
compare the
1
two?
over 2, but
Mhm.
normally if I'm going to give, and this question comes up all the time and I change my answer because I like to, but I normally cheat and do something like the Master Chief Collection and just cover all of those Halos.
Very good.
And today I'm going to cheat the other way around. I'm going to be a massive fraud. I'm going to say Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And I say that despite knowing I haven't played Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm putting all 3 of them together, cheating, and then betraying myself live on air so that I get removed from the internet.
Okay. So I'm struggling with this question. Is this specifically Xbox?
No, favorite game of all time.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, my answer changes. I didn't answer, but my answer changes a lot depending on how I'm feeling in the moment, because I have a lot of nostalgic games tied to my heart. But today, World of Warcraft is jumping into my face for some reason. It's jumping into my mind. I think it's such a powerful game in my life for connection purposes. It really connected me to my brothers even more than
Gamzly, you're
a lot
prick,
of other games.
and Deadly Headley's dog is dead. What's your favorite now?
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
You said it depends on your
That
mood. I'm just
caught me
doing
off guard.
science.
Ocarina of Time. No.
Excuse me, I'm just
so I can
gonna go
reverse
check on my
time,
dog.
baby. I can reverse time for when I'm not a prick and Deadly Headley's dog is not dead.
Those things weren't
but
supposed
yeah,
to cheer you
Ocarina
up.
of
You're a
Time.
monster.
But anyways, World of Warcraft most for today. World of Warcraft pops to my brain. But most of the time it's gonna be Zelda or Ocarina of Time. Maybe Majora's Mask. Yeah.
Deadly Headley, your dog's okay, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's fine. Dog's fine.
I can't-
Dog's fine.
call him up
I just
because
What's your dog's name?
wanted-
Timmy. Timmy. Here, Timmy.
I
Timmy.
wanted
like
to
a-
upset Gamzly,
like a
and I
werewolf
could
from
tell
that.
earlier that he was concerned for your dog, so I just went the easy route. But actually, he laughed, and we found out that his happy place game is Ocarina of Time.
I'm sure he's fine. Chances are he's sleeping under a blanket somewhere, farting probably.
That I gotta say that did catch me off guard. That was good. Anything else? All right.
I want to try some other moods, but as you didn't react as expected, I don't think it's going to work. So yeah, let's do. Pete has asked, Gamzly, when does the Gaming Arcadia
no.
Nintendo podcast start? And is Isla still waiting for stuff from you? Surely not.
Oh, is she? Am I the one holding this back?
No, I'm also
is this
holding
an
it back.
actual
but-
thing? Okay. We don't have a solid date. We're working on it. We're both not very easy on Isla. Isla's super ready, but we're just holding it back, Asa and I, apparently. But yeah, stay tuned.
Hmm.
Soon. Sooner than
What's your
later.
favorite game now?
Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I thought your mood had changed because you were feeling a little guilty there,
It
but
did.
no, guilt gives
It
a
did, but
different
now I'm
Zelda
in the-
game. So
No, you god damn it. You know what? Forget
Dog's
it.
fine, by the way.
I'm out. I'm
Good.
leaving. Dog's fine.
right, let's have a different question. Next question. He did change it, yes. Keep it up. No, I don't think we're going to get more emotions driver series. Thanks, Isla. Does that mean that we've run out of questions? Yes, we've run out of questions. That means we've reached the end of the show. That means we can all crack on with showcase season. The Gorilla thing was today, so if you haven't already seen some of that, there were a lot of indie games that we were going to talk about, but now we're not going to talk about. But worth a little look. Then Summer Games Fest is tomorrow. If you can bear the sight of Jeff Keighley's legs and shoes. Then you've got some other stuff and some other stuff. IGN, I've got one at some point. And the big one is obviously the Xbox One on Sunday. So everybody can be excited. Look forward to that. We will reconvene next week to talk about it all. In the meantime, though, Deadly Headley, I hope you've enjoyed the show and your hay fever has calmed down. Please tell people what you're up to and where they can find you.
Always enjoy the show, and yeah, thankfully my hay fever has calmed down, and my dog is fine.
Nice.
So all good there. So annoyingly, I'm actually not gonna end up watching this showcase live. I'm gonna end up watching it on Monday morning. So I may actually just lock my phone away because I'm playing D&D with some friends, and my partner is joining us as well, which is really exciting. She had a little go on a D&D one shot last week, and we didn't actually finish the one shot, so it is sort of bleeding into this week, kind of defeating the point of it being a one shot, but that's fine. And yeah, my partner's gonna join in on the fun, and I'm hoping that this sort of gives her the bug to then ask to be written into the main campaign that we're doing. So that's what I'm going to be playing instead of watching the showcase this week.
I'm
but I will be
intrigued by
watching.
that story. I hope we get updates. Once he's written
Yeah,
in, you can tell us how that works.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah. It'd be really cool. You can find me on YouTube at Deadly Headley. Like I said earlier in the show, please go and check out the latest video that I put on there. It's called Rumor Halo is coming to PlayStation. Should it? Because that video basically sort of presents for and against arguments as to why Xbox may want to put Halo on PlayStation. Put a lot of work into it. Very proud of it. The intro is entertaining as fuck. So if for nothing else, go and enjoy that intro because I'm very proud of that one. And obviously, when you're there, make sure that you like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the middle of July, which is my 1-year anniversary as a content creator. I am about 140 subscribers away from that. So again, if you're not subbed, please do. You can also find me on Twitter at deadlyheadley_. That's about it. That's it. I'm not on any other shows this week. Obviously, you can catch me here every Thursday as well. Again, please make sure that you like and subscribe to this show and the Gaming Arcadia channel. That's me.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, please do. If you haven't already, get onto Deadly Headley's channel. Do give it a subscribe. come back here, hit the like button, hit some subscribers, as Isla's saying there. I don't know what's going on there. I've missed something. And Gamzly, you tell the people how much fun you've had. What I'm not going to ask your favorite game because you're in the same kind of. No, you're concentrating now. Tell them your favorite game while you're concentrating, then tell them where they can find you for the week.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
You dick. Anyways, so you could find me here every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Gaming Arcadia YouTube channel, on the Xbox Series podcast each and every week. Do that where we talk about Xbox, do this exact show, and talk about games and what we love. Just three dudes talking. Then you can find me on Boom's show every Monday at lunchtime on Double Barrel Gaming, for the lunchtime special, I believe. Oh my god, I'm not good at this. I'm still not good at this, but yeah, come find me there. And follow my Twitter at GamzlyTKD, all in one word. For any other announcements, I pop up multiple shows at any given time. I have a lot of time. I have a lot of fun talking games. So if you like hearing my opinions and what I like and my thoughts, come pay attention to my channel, on my feed on X. Also, hit the like, subscribe, share this out. Please. It's great. This channel is awesome. Deserves your attention. Hopefully. It deserves somebody's attention. So yeah, find me on the Discord.
Nice one. He's right. The likes and the subscribes do help, but the shares in particular, if you've got a social media platform that you like to use, then anything that you can share out is really helpful for us. It does get us some more eyes.
We also really like hearing from you as well, by the way. Like it's really nice to hear and see who's supporting us too. So yeah, do give us a shout out because it's really appreciated, genuinely.
It's a better show when you guys get involved. Yeah, leave comments, come hang out and chat and talk. It's nice to hear you guys.
And yeah, you can find me. I'm streaming games quite a lot at the moment on the Asa Games YouTube channel, out the way on the side. So by all means, subscribe there if you enjoy chat and watching gameplay. Yeah, join our Discord, all the rest of it, and I'll be here for the usual series of podcasts, enjoying all the showcases, and we will see you next week.
Enjoy the show, everybody.